For Pennsylvania, Steelers, Eagles, intrastate rivalry. Now, Jalen Hurts had a glove on his left man. He's got a broken finger, as if the Eagles' passing game needed any more issues. But here, Hurts to A.J. Brown. A.J. said they needed more passing. They got more passing in this game. That was a 20-yard gain, and then Saquon goes off for 22 here. 65 yards, though, his lowest rushing output since week 6. 2 plays later, second and goal, Hurts, Brown, touchdown, and they do a little celebration.
That was our moment to tell everybody to shut up, honestly.
So I guess breaking out the kid and play house party is the new way to say shut up. Second quarter, Hurts to Brown again. AJ had 8 catches for 110 yards in this game. That picked up 17. And then later, third and goal, Hurts to DeVonta Smith. He had a career-high 11 catches for 109 yards. Hurts, 6th game with 2 passing touchdowns this season. They're up 17-3. Here come the Steelers. Russ, Pat Freiermuth, touchdown. And the ball was a little underthrown, but thrown, should say. Freiermuth, though, able to fight for it, gets a touchdown. It's 17-13 at the half. We're in the third quarter now. Pittsburgh, they get tricky with it. Little flea flicker action. Calvin Austin, gain of 31. Later in the drive, they're at the Eagles 26, and it's a toss to Najee Harris, who never had control of it. Eagles recover the fumble, and that was huge because on the ensuing possession, Jalen up the middle for 23 yards. So we move into the fourth quarter. It's second and goal from the 1, and you know what's coming. 14th rushing touchdown of the season for Jalen Hurts, and the Eagles have a 27-13 lead. 5 minutes to go. Can they put the game away? Hurts was looking for A.J. Brown. It's incomplete, but more importantly for Pittsburgh, T.J. Watt grabbing at his left ankle. He left the game. He did not return. X-rays afterwards were negative. So hopefully nothing serious, but from behind 290 passing yards from Jalen Hurts, the Eagles have now won 10 straight. That's a franchise record.
So that's what y'all want to see, huh? The grass will be green where you water it, and we decided to water it, and we kind of saw the fruits of our labor in that. Obviously, we've been watering the running game a good bit, and it's kind of natural to put an emphasis on one thing and kind of take an emphasis off of another and see what you guys have kind of seen. And so, we want to just continue to be well-rounded, push to be well-rounded and water all areas of our yard.
Be watered, my friends. Hurts had one of the best passing games of the year, 290 yards, as I mentioned. He completed 78% of his throws, both good for his second-best marks on the season. And whatever issues Hurts and Brown may have had with what this passing game is supposed to be, they were on the same page this week. Brown targeted a season-high.
Steelers in the Battle of Pennsylvania, 27-13. After 3 consecutive weeks of being held over 180 yards, Jalen Hurts was 25 of 32, 290 with a pair of touchdowns. Brown and Smith both went over 100 yards, marking the 4th time they've achieved this feat, setting a new record for the most such games by a duo in Eagles history. Hurts, the approach was a little different this week. The grass will be greener where you water it, where you decided to water the pass game. And that's the kind of fruits that you saw of our labor. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The grass is green on the other side if you water it, if you fertilize it, if you tend to it.
Right. You always got to. It's all about upkeep. Sometimes it don't matter where you go. As long as you got some grass over there, it's all about the details, being sharp, paying attention. Everybody ain't really got the discipline, though. Very few got the discipline to take care of the grass, where it's green. You hear me? Yeah, but anyway, that goddamn game was good, though. I could tell you that. The game was good, and it didn't take a turn for the worse for the Steelers until Najee Harris fumbled. When he fumbled that ball, it was a little haywire. But what the Eagles did after that on both sides of the ball was impressive. Offensively and defensively. They look good.
It would have been interesting to see Ocho had he not fumbled that ball. But you got to realize they got their points now because T.J. Watt punched the ball out of Jalen Hurts. So, I mean, if we being honest about it, I mean, you think about it. Russell Wilson was 14 of 22 for 128 yards. They ran the ball 17 times for 56 yards. So they had less than 200 yards. As a matter of fact, to be quite honest with you, they had less than 190 yards of total offense. Excuse me. You're not going to win very many games with 190 yards of total offense unless your defense takes the ball away 5-6 times, a couple scooping scores, pick sixes. Other than that, and you sack the opposing quarterback 5, 6, 8, 9 times. But to get no sacks and to get he had one turnover, Cooper DeJean fumbled on the punt. That's how they really got the touchdown. DeJean fumbled on that punt. But other than that, they really didn't move the ball offensively, Ocho. This was probably this was their worst offensive performance
we've seen
since Russ was inserted back into the starting lineup. This was the Eagles dominated this. They got out.
Listen, it's the fact. It's okay. I think it's okay and it's good that Russ had a game like this. They had a game like this, and they didn't just play against anybody. They played against the Eagles. The Eagle team that has won 10 almost.
Yeah, they run 10 in a row now, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
So to see him have a game like this is understandable, and I want to say it's okay. I want to say it's okay. Boom, we back to the drawing board. What do we need to do better going forward from here? Because when we do play good teams like the Eagles, at some point that we'll probably have to face at some point, maybe in the playoffs, or a team that's in the AFC that we might have to face in the playoffs, what do we need to do better? How do we execute our offense? Because I saw so many goddamn three and outs from the goddamn Steelers where they could never get themselves into a rhythm offensively. They couldn't run the ball.
No.
That goddamn Jalen Carter.
I told you.
But
they got him playing. That D-line with Williams and Carter and Davis with Sweat. Oh, they playing. Hey, and they got them two guys in the middle, Zach Braun and N'Kobe Dean.
Them boy playing some ball, boy.
Ball. Man.
So listen, there was a collapse. They had a collapse last year. They were 10-1 and they collapsed the remainder of the season. That ain't happening this year. Not with the way that defense playing. Absolutely not.
But there were a situation on the sideline. I think Sirianni was trying to talk to Jalen Carter, the D-line coach. I've never seen a team that has such prosperity, but damn, they argue about they constantly into
dysfunctional.
It. I'm like, damn. Hey. I would really hate to see if they would lose. Okay, so Ocho, if we 12-2, we're 11-2, we're 10-2, and we're arguing and we're bickering on the sideline. What the hell would it be if we're 6-6 or we 6-7? What?
But you know what? It could be a sign. It could be a testament. It could be a good thing. It could be a good thing. You never know what it is. Obviously, I can't say what it is, especially from the outside looking in. You know, players are passionate, coaches are passionate, wanting everybody to be on the same page, not celebrating too early, being that the game was somewhat close, could have been an issue as well. But it's a good thing, to see that the coaches care, to see that the players care, and that everybody's on one accord with the same understanding, with the same end goal in mind. Let's keep that focus on what we're here for and why we're doing what we're doing.
Right. Them Georgia boys, they got like 4 guys starting. Yeah. They got N'Kobe Dean. They got
Davis,
Carter. They got Davis. Yeah. They got Nolan Smith Jr. I mean, they got a lot of guys that's starting that's from the University of Georgia, them Bulldogs, them Dogs. But they're playing really, really well. Now, I saw Washington driving Slay out of the back. I've never seen a guy get blocked that long, that far. That's where you just drop. And I know Slay didn't want to get dropped because he didn't want to be, I got pancake. He knows they're going to show it on Sports Center. But, bro, when the man drives you 30 yards out of the back of the end zone, put your back up against the wall, that's going to get showed too. It just is, Ocho. You know it. But, he like 6'8", like 270. So it wasn't nothing Slay could do.
I think, obviously, just speaking on that play in general, I think it's unfair when they change the rules, when guards and tackles pull on sweeps, or misdirection plays. Now that the
Yeah.
corners and safeties are at a disadvantage,
Oh, you can't cut them.
you can't cut no more. You can't create a pile.
No, no,
So I
no.
think it's almost unfair. And I mean, the DBs and safeties are at a disadvantage, huh? Giving up almost 150 pounds to deep.
Yeah, but you hurt somebody. And see that if you try, and see, here's the thing. They say are you trying to make it safe? Because guys don't want them knee shots, Ocho.
Right.
Them guys, stay off my knees, man. Stay off my knees. They don't really let you cut in the interior line like we used to when you and I was in the league.
Yeah.
And so they say, look, we're gonna protect. We're gonna try to protect everybody. Obviously, heavy emphasis on the quarterback. But I like that rule because, man, them guys going out there and them guys just trying to take. And even on the run back, Ocho, they won't let you. The quarterback used to try to take the blockers out. They won't let him do that anymore. Right. And so that's always been a rule on the kick team. You can't block below the waist. But the Eagles look good. The Eagles look good, and I said this about 3 weeks ago. I'm not so sure if Detroit and the Eagles play. I'm not so sure I wouldn't take the Eagles. I'm almost certain I would take the Eagles.
Detroit?
I would. Yeah.
Hey.
Because the Eagles have something that very few teams in the NFC have. They front seven can go get home.
Listen, that front seven.
And we know Goff is not mobile. That's Josh Allen that you try to get to him and get his ass on the ground. You can get to Jared Goff.
But also remember now, you still got to do it. You still got to deal with that running game. You still got to deal with the running game.
Yeah.
And if things are balanced, there's a good dose of run and there's a good dose of pass. Listen, Detroit can be very dangerous, despite that loss today. They ain't no slouch.
No, they're not. But Philly, they love to play two shell. They believe they can stop your run with their front seven. And I don't see any reason why. I haven't seen anything to make me feel that they can't, because those big boys up front, that D line is vicious. They get after you. And they did a great job on the Steelers today. The Eagles look really, really good. 27-13 winners over the Pittsburgh Steelers, who fall to 10-4, but still lead the AFC North. Yeah, we talked about that. The team was leading by 14 in the fourth quarter. Weird to see coaches yelling at each other. Yeah. But hey, if I'm a team, I'm doing everything I can to try to get a lead on the Eagles.
Because they start folding, fighting and bickering amongst each other.
Yeah, that's what I got to see it. That's what I want to see. That's all I want to see, Ocho. I want to see if calmer heads will prevail. But then I want to get a lead and then see, what I'm gonna do to AJ Brown. I'm gonna double him early. I'm gonna frustrate him.
You see the kind of day he had today, though, huh? You see what happened? Yeah, I knew that was coming. Anytime, I mean, listen, it's just the way the NFL works, just the way it works in general. You have a day where it's bad like that. You say some things, and then the passing game today, look like they ain't miss a beat.
Well, the thing, but like you said, Ocho, Steelers do a great job of stopping the run.
Exactly.
With the passing game, the passing game better do something today, or you're gonna get beat.
I absolutely knew this would be what happened today because they're so good. Listen, they top 5, in defense, the Steelers, especially against the run. So I knew they were gonna have to put the ball in the goddamn air to have some type of success.
And they were playing this game without George Pickens. But I'm gonna tell Joey Porter Jr. this, bro. They're not gonna call that push off. When he opens you up outside and then he clubs you, they're not gonna call that. So you can tell the official he doing this all he wants to. They're not gonna call it. First of all, it's within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. So, bro, you have to get in the weight room because you're a little light right now. You have to be able to clamp up because these guys, these big receivers like an AJ Brown, they're gonna play through contact now.
Every time.
They're gonna play through contact.
For DB, it's all about understanding your personnel, understanding what you can and can't do against certain receivers. There's some receivers, they physical. You could either get physical with them or use what you have to your advantage that they don't. Your quickness, being quick, being twitchy, and just shadow them. Just shut them. You got to understand your opponents. You got to play everybody different, and what works best for you.
Yeah, you can't.
Hey, Eagles Nation. Welcome back to Eagles Nest News, the place where we dive deep into everything happening with our Philadelphia Eagles. If you're a diehard fan or just a football enthusiast, you're in the right spot. Today, we've got some exciting content to unpack, so grab a seat, hit that like button, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Now, let's talk about what went down in the Battle of Pennsylvania. The Philadelphia Eagles dominated the Pittsburgh Steelers with a 27-13 win. And let me tell you, there's so much to dissect. The Eagles' passing game, led by Jalen Hurts, really took center stage this week. The Steelers came in as a formidable opponent, but the Eagles were simply too much to handle. From incredible offensive plays to tough defensive stands, the Eagles showed the league that they are more than just a one-trick pony. So, sit tight as we break down how the Eagles continue to prove they are among the NFL's elite. Let's start with the most important part, Jalen Hurts. Coming into the game, Hurts had a small injury concern. His left hand was wrapped due to a broken finger. Now, if you know anything about Jalen Hurts, you know that nothing will stop him from performing. In fact, despite the injury, he put on one of his best passing performances of the season, throwing for 290 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hurts completed an impressive 78% of his passes, showing that even with some struggles in the passing game earlier in the season, he's finding his rhythm. The A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith show. While Hurts had a big day through the air, a major highlight of this game was his connection with A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith. A.J. Brown had an incredible outing, with 8 receptions for 112 yards and a touchdown. He was targeted a season-high 13 times, and it was clear from the opening drive that Hurts and Brown were on the same page. But it didn't stop there. DeVonta Smith also had a career-high 11 catches for 109 yards, marking the 4th time this season that both of these receivers have gone over 100 yards in the same game, setting a new franchise record for most such games by a duo in Eagles history. Hurts, Brown, and Smith clearly showed that this passing game has what it takes to compete with the best. And let's not forget about the impact of the Eagles' rushing attack, even though Hurts wasn't able to hit his usual rushing numbers. Hurts had 65 rushing yards, which, while it was his lowest output since Week 6, still included a crucial 1-yard touchdown run in the 4th quarter to put the Eagles up 27-13. Hurts has now scored 14 rushing touchdowns this season, an insane stat that puts him among the league's best at the QB position when it comes to finding the end zone. Now, as much as we want to focus on the offense, the defense played a pivotal role in this win. The Eagles' defense was absolutely stifling, particularly against the run. Pittsburgh's Najee Harris fumbled a critical ball at the Eagles' 26-yard line, and that turnover was the turning point in the game. The Eagles capitalized on this mistake with a beautiful 23-yard scramble from Hurts, which helped set up the 1-yard rushing touchdown that gave the Eagles a 2-possession lead in the 4th quarter. The Eagles' defensive line was also a problem for the Steelers all day. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, and Brandon Graham were relentless in pressuring Pittsburgh's offense. In fact, they were so disruptive that Pittsburgh never had the chance to get any rhythm going. Steelers QB Kenny Pickett and the entire Pittsburgh offense were completely stifled by the Eagles' defensive front. And that front seven, led by defensive coordinator Sean Desai, has to be one of the most underrated in the NFL. They dominated the Steelers' offensive line, and although TJ Watt's exit due to injury was a huge blow to Pittsburgh's defense, the Eagles made sure to make the most of the opportunity. Hurts and company kept their foot on the gas, never allowing Pittsburgh to make a comeback. One of the most critical moments came after the Steelers attempted a trick play, a flea flicker that had Pittsburgh's Calvin Austin catching a 31-yard pass. But just when it looked like the Steelers might gain some momentum, they fumbled the ball, giving the Eagles another opportunity to seize control. That turnover was huge, and as we've seen time and time again, the Eagles took full advantage of any mistake made by their opponents. It's hard not to notice how much this team has improved compared to last season. Sure, they went 10-1 before collapsing last year, but with this defense and the way Hurts is playing right now, this is a team that is built to finish strong. The running game, although not as dominant as in previous weeks, was still effective when needed. The Eagles made sure to spread the wealth and keep the Steelers' defense guessing, and it paid off big time. So, what does this win mean for the Eagles? Well, it solidifies their position as one of the top teams in the NFC and gives them a ton of momentum heading into the second half of the season. With a 10-game win streak, the Eagles have already set a franchise record for consecutive wins. Hurts and the offense seem to be finding a balance between passing and rushing, and as we saw against the Steelers, when they're firing on all cylinders, they're hard to stop. The defense, too, continues to impress. The addition of Jalen Carter has made a massive difference on the D-line, and with players like Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, and Jordan Davis, the Eagles' front seven is one of the best in the league. Combine that with an opportunistic secondary, and it's clear why this Eagles team is so dangerous. To all the Eagles fans out there, the sky's the limit. We've got a team that can run the ball, throw the ball, and stop the run. This win over the Steelers was just another example of what this team is capable of, and the rest of the NFL is definitely on notice. As we move into the latter part of the season, the Eagles will face tougher tests, but there's no doubt that they are ready for the challenge. So, let's enjoy this 10-game win streak while it lasts, and get ready for more. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you, the Eagles Nest News family. What do you think about the Eagles' performance in this game? Are you confident this team can keep it rolling, or are there still areas of concern for you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for more Eagles news, analysis, and updates as we continue to ride this wave to the playoffs. Until next time, fly Eagles fly.